Antonio Mora, Susan Lichtman, Mark Thompson, Dagny Hultgreen, Suzanne Dunn. This is Good Day, LA.
Continuing now with the complex issue regarding adoption, we're talking with two young women who grew up as adopted children, Diana Carsola and Charlotte Laws. First of all, before we continue, don't forget to call our 1-900 number and let us know how you feel about the baby Jessica case. If you believe she should have been allowed to stay with the divorce, you can call 1-900-370-8222. If you think she should have gone back to her biological parents, 8333, and we'll have the result at the end of the show. I know that this is very difficult for both of you to talk about, but I assume that you both have very strong opinions regarding the baby Jessica case. Diana, you were adopted at the age of 2 and had a very positive experience with your adoption.
Yes.
When you look back at the baby Jessica case, what do you think should have happened?
I think that both of the parents should have known when to let go, or actually let go when they felt I'm getting nervous, I'm sorry.
Don't be nervous, it's all right.
I think people need to know when to let go and to allow themselves the dignity of living their own life as well as supporting the child's life.
You believe that both sets of parents were selfish in this case?
Yes.
In what way?
Well, actually the adoptive parents, I believe, were selfish in not letting go when the birth parent wanted to have the child back. I think that the child is basically going to suffer because there was a lot of tugging and fear and pulling on this child, and I think that it wasn't fair all the way around. I think people should have let go a lot sooner.
Charlotte Laws, you had an experience with an adoptive family that was not all that pleasant. Before we get into that, why don't you tell me what your take on the baby Jessica affair is? If it was up to you to decide.
I think that in the long run it's better for the child to be with the natural parents. I don't think that you should just take a child, though, pull a child away from parents that she's been with for 2.5 years and take her straight over to the natural parents. I think there should be a transition period. I think there should be visitation. I don't even see why she can't have 4 parents per se. Two with custody and 2 with visitation and communication and you know, I mean, people are always complaining about, you know, a bad childhood or not happy with their parents. Maybe if we have more parents, I mean, in a way I have 4 parents, or I did have 4 parents. And even though I wasn't happy with my adoptive parents.
Why weren't you happy with your adoptive family?
It was a very bad childhood. I mean, my father is very abusive, very verbally abusive, and is to this day. And my mother was pretty much the opposite of me, and I just couldn't understand her.
Now, you, over the years, have gotten in touch with your biological mother, or both your mother and your father?
Both my mother and father. I met them about 8 years ago.
And would you, given the choice, have rather grown up with your biological parents?
I would have felt loved, and that's the major difference. I have never...
You didn't feel abandoned by them when they gave you up in the beginning?
No, I didn't. I've never had bad feelings towards them, and I understand the circumstances, and I care about them very much to this day, and I just never have felt any anger. You know, they were young, they were in school, and I found out later also that they had put me up prior to my mom having me, put me up for adoption, and it was my father's decision, basically. He was the one who did it.
And you don't harbor any anger with regard to that?
No, I don't, but I also found out that 2 years later he went back and found my mother, looked her up again, and wanted to get back together and wanted to come find me. And she said, no, it's too late, we can't do that. So.
What about you, Diana? You had a very happy adoptive life, and you have since found both of your biological parents as well.
Well, my birth mother.
Your birth mother.
My birth mother. I think that the major difference between Jessica and my case, I was adopted when I was 2.5.
Do you remember when you were adopted?
Yes, I remember before and after, and I think one of the major things I remember is my cat before I was adopted, and I think basically it's because that's one person or one thing that I had most contact with, most affection and nurturing, right? And I really feel that my mother was very brave in doing what she did because she knew her limitations and she wanted to be able to continue on with her life and also give me a supporting, nurturing life support, you know, through having me adopted when I was 2.5. And I think it was a very loving exchange and a very willing exchange, very willing to let go, very willing to accept.
And you don't feel that she abandoned you?
No, not at all.
As we close out, and when we look back at this baby Jessica case, what do you think people should walk away with after looking at this case now for the past several weeks in the public eye?
I think that they should, I think that people should think about the child rather than, I do feel that parents have this selfish, interest. I mean, even my adopted father doesn't know that I have this relationship with my birth parents because he just can't handle it.
You're kidding me. So
No,
it still
I
is
mean,
a secret?
He knew that I had met them because I told him, and we talked about it for like 30 seconds, and he denied it. He goes, oh, you found the wrong people. You don't know. He's very upset about it. I have never brought it up since, and so I have continued this relationship. My adopted mother committed suicide when I was 16, so, she's pretty much out of it. I mean, she was like semi-conscious for 10 years, so, but yeah.
You think the parents should think of the child?
I think they're very selfish. It's like they just want that child to themselves, and they just can't stand to think of the child being with someone else or having another relationship with someone else.
Do you agree with that as well?
I agree, but I also feel that in adoption, period, that honesty is one of the most important things I can think of. My parents were very honest with me and what they knew, what they didn't know, and very willing to let me find out the answers. And I'm very grateful in that sense because it's like for a graduation, my birth mother, I know my birth mother, she gave me like uncultured pearls, saltwater pearls. And my mother for graduation, who I grew up with, my adopted mom, gave me cultured pearls. And they're both very precious pearls. They're just different,
but the same
they're
as
just
well.
different. And
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us this morning. We know that this has been difficult for both of you to talk about, but we appreciate you being here.